We almost at the end of the year. I mean, we are at the end of the year. Rosh Hashanah is what, a week or so ago. I mean, from now. And it's always good to see what we have done or what we haven't done. And you look at people and you see really how they're simply wasting their lives. And I'm not trying to advocate people to become not responsible or something like that. But let's look at really what is important in your life and what we don't have, and that's the biggest thing. Everybody needs to have some kind of a spiritual contentment or spiritual joy. Many times when we don't have it, we turn into exaggerated things and weird things just to satisfy this need inside of us, and we don't know exactly what it is. It's like this unexplained hunger to something spiritual. And the most important component in spirituality is what? Everybody knows? Want to try? No? Belief? In what? In women?
Emuna.
Emuna, no. Yeah, anybody? You guys want to try? You see, you don't even have a clue because you never thought about it. The number one most important ingredient in spirituality is joy, happiness, simcha. And we don't have it. Most of the time because we define ourselves as something else, because we play that role. And it's all about how important I am and how this I am and so on and so forth. Let's say, for example, once you like, people say to you, oh, he's a principal of the school. Or Dr. Zalman, right? What do? I'm a head of a department in college. Really? I'm a professor. And you, I'm chief accountant, and and so on and so forth. I'm a head of the department here, I'm a principal there, I'm this and this and that. You're anything else but yourself. And you don't allow to be yourself because then you'll have to do something about it. And we work and we work and we work and we work to no end. There's no life, and there's no life, there's no joy. So I need to have some joy. So let's go to Cancun. Let's get drunk. Let's go to, do bungee jumping. Let's do crazy things. No, but that does not give you joy. It gives you a fix, but not a joy. You become addict to those things. And the bottom line is most people are not happy. There's no depth to their joy. If there is joy, it's always superficial. You have some stand-up comedian that, if you look at stand-up comedians, most of them are pretty vulgar. And the only thing they laugh is vulgarity, nothing even sharp anymore. Comedians used to be smart people. You have to be smart, but not just vulgar, so everybody laughs. And where are we going with this? Are you celebrating life? Are you living life? Are you celebrating life? Are you enjoying life? I read an article about a Jewish American couple. They had a house and they had a job and they had cars and they had this, and they decided to sell everything they have and simply travel the world. They're probably not keeping kosher, but still, you get the drift. It's amazing. And you don't need much. I talked to somebody in Israel. They said to me, how can you do this? It's expensive. Listen, average apartment in Israel is near $1 million. So you know how long you can live with $1 million? What do you need all this? My mother's cousin had a house in Etzion on ground, on the ground house, very expensive place to live. And then she decided, I don't know how old is she. She's probably 70 or something like this. She decided, you know what, that's it. That's it. I had enough. She sold the house. She bought herself downsized. They bought a small apartment. And she says, I want to travel. I want to enjoy life. I want to take care of myself. I want to enjoy life. You don't allow yourself to do so. You want to make sure that there's everything in your life besides joy. You don't do anything besimcha. And not doing things besimcha would affect you spiritually. You're not happy in what you do. You deny yourself. You don't need to be afraid. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? For the approval of others? And look, a year goes by, and regardless of your effort, you're not happier. You thought, and we always think, that next year is going to be a good year. But if you haven't done or planning on doing anything different next year than you did this year and the year before, I can guarantee to you that it's not going to be the same. It's going to be even worse. Because there is an end in sight. And by the way, that's another thing that we are all petrified of, is death. We should embrace death, laugh at it, smile at it, accept that one day there's going to be one, and that's good. One day we're going to die. Oh, that's good. Now let's start living. Let's start living. We live in fear. All our life is generated by fear. I'm not even talking about emunah, belief in God. I'm talking about very basic human, life. We live in fear. We make decisions out of fear. We go into jobs because we're afraid not to have money. Who says having money is a good thing? And jobs that not necessarily we like. We marry people because we are afraid to be alone. Not because we want to be with that person, because we're afraid to be alone. And is this the reason? Is this a reason to get married? Is it fair to you? Is it fair for the other person? I don't want to be alone, so I need to do it. I need to get married. I have a Yetzer Hara, so I need to get married. What do you think? The other person is an antibiotic for your Yetzer Hara? The acknowledgement of things like weakness that we have, fears that we have, and acknowledgement of that, and doing something about it, not trying to, sugarcoat it or antibiotic it. That's the key, the beginning of trying to live happier life, because you become free of it, and we're not. And as years go by, we become less happier and less happier with who we are, with what we have become. And then you're saying, oh my goodness, time is going by. It's 30 years down the road, 40 years down the road. I'm already 40 years old. And all of a sudden he says, oh my goodness, 40 years old. I'm starting to get hair, white hair in places that it shouldn't be to begin with. But when are you going to travel? When are you going to enjoy life? When are you going to live life? When you're 70 years old? When God forbid having a catheter is more of a reality than for you standing up and, when are you going to live life? When you're all wrinkled and your bones are aching? I'm not saying be irresponsible, but live life according to. Your number one priority should be happiness and joy. I didn't say fun like people think, oh, I'm happy, I'm taking like a little marijuana here, I'm happy. We're not talking about that. I'm popping a little Molly and a little Jolly and, I'm not talking about those things. I'm talking about simcha amitit. There's no spiritual, everybody's talking about spirituality. It's like, what's his name said? I'm just doofus. John Lennon. Everybody is smoking and nobody's getting high. Everybody's talking about spirituality and spirituality, and they don't do anything about it. It's all on the surface. There's no jumping into that, and it really comes from simcha, from joy. That joy will give you satisfaction in what you do, meaning in what you do, and you realize you don't need so much. We jump and we jump into things and we act like we are possessed, because we're really possessed. We are afraid. This is being happy and really being who we are is the biggest demon that we face in our lives. Nobody cares about you. You think that if you, let's say for example, let me ask you a question. To be a prime minister in Israel, right? Israeli prime minister. Is that a big thing? Yeah, I mean, you have Army, Air Force, atom bombs, this bomb, yeah, you know. When was the last time you thought about Ehud Barak or Shimon Peres or Arik Sharon or any others of these heroes? How about the President of the United States in Shish Kebab, right? When was the last time you thought about Jimmy Carter? Besides on Yahoo, they like try to resurrect him every now and then to have some liberal, propaganda there, like, the old guys. Or how about Jimmy Carter? By the way, you know how many past presidents are still alive? You don't even know. Do you know if Gerald Ford is alive or dead? You don't even think about it. And you heard recently what happened to Nixon? You didn't hear what happened to Richard Nixon? He's in coma. He's dead. He's dead already for like 30 years, doofus. What do you mean you didn't hear about it? He's dead. The President of the United States, he could have destroyed the whole entire world if he wanted. Nobody really cares. So what do you think anybody cares about you? There's only one thing that cares about you. That's God. Well, you therefore need to do what He wants you to do, what He approves of you, that's good for you. And then you're going to live your life. That's the ultimate freedom, but you don't want to be free. So that's why you deny God in anything that you do, and you turn around to your gods, which is your society and your other things that you think are so important, which they are not. Look to be free. Nobody wants to be free. Everybody wants to be comfortable. People don't want to be free. And you coming on Rosh Hashanah and evaluating, yes. Everybody's coming to Rosh Hashanah, saying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, give me another year. For what? HaKadosh Baruch Hu, God forbid, But you put us all over the misery. We're suffering. We suffer. We're not happy. If I'm going to give you walk, let's say for example, 4 miles with shoes that are not comfortable for you, you're going to say, oh, my feet are hurting, get rid of this thing. I'll walk barefoot. But what are you doing to your life? You remind me of those like Cinderella guys, they're trying to fit the shoes. It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit to what you do with your life. You don't need so much as you think you do. Don't be afraid out of what's going to be in the future. What's going to be in the future? Nothing is going to be in the future. It's going to be good or bad. It depends how you like it, how you make it. But the good and bad that will happen will depend on your attitude, not on the amount of money you have in your bank. There was an Israeli newscaster, a few months ago. He was in Romania. So he likes motorcycles, riding on a motorcycle. He describes, so all of a sudden, driving on the mountains over there, all of a sudden he says, I see a Volvo coming my way into his lane. And then he had severely injured in the car accident. Severely. And he said the following. You don't know when will be that next car or the next Volvo coming from the curve into your lane to end up your life in a split of a second. So start living. So you finish college in 8 years instead of 4 years. So what? So what? Until then, you did something. You were happy. You traveled, you worked, you laughed. It's not that you live irresponsible life, Rabotai. That's the responsible thing to do. And I'm going to tell you something else. We'll talk about the baby, Be'ezrat Hashem, about it tonight. All the klalot, the curses, that comes to us from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is leman ki lo avata et Hashem Elokecha besimcha uvetov levav. You kept all the mitzvot, but you weren't happy about it. You ran away from it as much as you could. You're running from Hashem and His Torah as much as you can. Kesef ve'Elohei Zahav, the gods of money and gold. In other words, you're running after the gods of materialism, abyss. It's dark. Come to the light. Don't run out of the light. Be drawn to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Whatever you can to learn, to stay in the Torah world. Don't be a millionaire. Who cares? Because at the end of the day, when you are going to be in the deathbed, it will all be dependent on how happy you are. And the people around you that will be around you will be because they're happy to be with you, not happy that you're going away. Oh, when this old guy's going to die, you know, where's got all this money to give us? But when you were there giving them love and happiness and joy, they will want it much more than your money. So Rabbatai, make your cheshbon. Calculate your moves. Be honest with yourself about the true happiness, about just being happy to be alive. Just happy to be alive. Look at the world. Enjoy it. Embrace it. Go out and travel and see how awesome God is. Go see the Rockies. How big they are. And imagine how big they are, and yet HaKadosh Baruch Hu created them. And then go look at the atom level of things. How can you go down to that level of atoms and create that fantastic thing as well? And molecules and neutrinos and all that kind of crazy things that don't even know exist. And this is all the creation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'm just happy to be in this world. And what do? Working overtime. For what? That's the end of the year. The one day will be the end of your life. And it's the most miserable way to do. That's why a lot of people, when they go on retirement, get very depressed. Because they realize, I'm in retirement now. And I feel very lonely. And I realize that I basically wasted my life on nothing. And right now, there's nothing I can do about it. There's nothing I can do to bring back the years in which I could really live the life the way I wanted to. So what happens to many people? They continue working. That's not something's worth called life. You're still young. Don't give up on your most precious commodity, time, with the most special ingredient and spice that will give you most wonderful time in the world, and that's called happiness and joy. Not pepper and salt. Happiness and joy. And then you steal yourself a very, very delicious thing that's going to be your life. That's life worth living. Have a good day.